Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 23rd July 2021. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says analysis by NGO, that is non-governmental organization, reveals microplastic in Ganga. So here you need to think about two important things. So first one is what are this microplastic? And you need to know about why this microplastic is present in river Ganga. And you can talk about even Ganga plan, okay? That is recently we went for mainly, already we know that river Ganga and river Yamuna are most polluted rivers in India. And we are mainly going for cleaning of this river Ganga. So you need to know about that project also. And you need to also think about what is impact of microplastic on human and as well as marine biodiversity or marine environment. So this topic will be very much important from your environment and ecology point of view. And you can also talk about this Clean Ganga program that will comes under your GS paper 2. So now let us try to see what is written in this topic. And we are also going to discuss in detail about this, what are this microplastic. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that an analysis of stretches of river Ganga by Delhi-based NGO, that is non-government organization. So name of that NGO is Toxic Link. So it mainly done some analysis regarding water which is present in river Ganga, and this NGO mainly found out that so there is pollution in this river Ganga mainly caused by this microplastic. So what is this microplastic first of all? So this microplastic, it is a synthetic solid particles. So if you're talking about size of this microplastic, which mainly ranges from 1 micrometer to 5 mm, okay, that is 1 mu m, that is micrometer, till 5 mm, millimeters, okay. So this is the size of this microplastic, and these are insoluble in water. So you can get a question like what are this microplastic, and they will give a one statement regarding definition. And second statement might be it is soluble in water. So in this way you might be get confused if you see those statements. Okay, so you need to be very much clear that so this microplastic or synthetic solid materials or solid particles. So size here is mu m to 5 mm. So here UPSC can also play a number game here. So you need to remember this size, that is 1 micrometer to 5 mm. And next one is it is insoluble in water. And if you see some more details which are given in this topic, it mainly says that Ganga flows across 5 states, and let me know those states in which this river Ganga flows in comment box. Don't forget about that. So Ganga flows across 5 states in India, and Union government came up with a national mission for clean Ganga mainly to get rid of this contamination. So here you need to refer about what is this national mission for clean Ganga. So here this article mainly says that microplastics, they are recognized as major source of marine pollution. So we are going for untreated sewage. So this will be directly released into this river Ganga. So it is mainly flowing in 5 states, right? So major cities also present, right? So across these major cities we are having different industries. They are mainly built, and we can also see there are number of pilgrimage centers. So in this banks of this river course, so this industrial waste and as well as religious offerings, they are wrapped in this non-biodegradable or non-degradable plastics, and they are mainly thrown into this river. So because of this, whenever water which is moving, then what happen? It will be mainly leads to piling up of pollutants into river. So later on, as we all know that these plastics and as well as these waste material which is dumped into this river, that will be eventually that will be broken into microplastics, and these microplastics finally they will be carried into ocean or sea. As we know, this river Ganga mainly flows through 5 states, and finally that will join this Bay of Bengal. So whatever the amount of this microplastic which is present in this river, that will be finally deposited in this ocean, in this Bay of Bengal. So we all know that different seas and different water bodies which are present across our globe, they are interconnected, right? So if there is any pollution from one area, that will be transmitted to another areas also, right? So because of this climate change, it is not a not an important part which is made related to so and so country. It is interconnected. So because of this, now we can see there are many countries are coming forward and are coming up with different agreements. For example, we can talk about Kyoto Protocol. We can talk about even Paris Climate Deal. So why all countries are coming and forming this? Because whenever there is any problem regarding climate change or any pollution that is present in one country, that is not the sole problem of that country. So this will also leads to some adverse impact on other countries. So because of this, to address this climate change and pollution, we are having many conventions, we are having many agreements. Okay, so this is the thing that you need to remember. And next one here is you need to remember, so whatever the pollution or whatever the plastic we are throwing in any water bodies and any rivers, that will be finally ultimately sink into this oceans or water bodies. So if you're talking about important things which are given in this article, it mainly says that highest concentration of plastic which is mainly seen in Varanasi. So in Varanasi, it is very much famous for pilgrimage centers or pilgrimage sites, right? So here we saw there is increased use of single use of plastic and as well as secondary plastic products and as well as micro beads which are very much less than 300 micrometers. Okay. So if you're talking about single use plastic, again you can recall one important point which is given by our Prime Minister. He said that we are going to eliminate single use plastic. Okay. So because this single use plastic is one of important major pollutant regarding this plastic. So our Prime Minister came up with the aim of to end use of this single-use plastic. So whenever you are writing about single-use plastic, you can also make a note of this also. And now let us try to see impact. Okay, so over 663 species of marine organisms, they are mainly adversely affected due to this marine debris. So why these marine organisms are affected by this plastic? Because whenever these marine organisms are consuming this plastic, then what happens? That will lead to blocking of their digestive system. So because of this, that will lead to eventually death of those animals. So what is the need? What can be done? So first one is we need to address threat of plastic on aquatic life. And to address this problem, various stakeholders, for example, industry, government, civil society organization, they need to join hands for improving plastic management, and we need to go for subsequent reduction in microplastics. And now let us focus on some facts regarding this microplastics. So what is meaning of this microplastic? So these are very small plastic pieces and size which is mainly less than 5 mm, that is from 1 micrometer to 5 mm in size, and it also includes even micro beads. So what are these micro beads? Beads means small things, right? So here we are having solid plastic particles which are less than 1 mm in their large dimension. So if you see beads means small round things, right? So these are micro beads. So these are mainly less than 1 mm of a size. And if you're talking about uses of this microplastics, so they are commonly used in cosmetics and some personal care products, and in industrial scrubbers also they will use this microplastic. And how this microplastic is formed? So first one is whenever there is a plastic you are taken, so whenever we are going for this breakdown of this plastic, so that will lead to production of this microplastic. And whenever these plastics are not recycled or broken up due to exposure to sun or some physical use, that will lead to formation of this microplastic. And if you're talking about this microplastic which mainly damages aquatic creatures, for example even turtles and as well as birds which are feeding on this marine organisms. So here this microplastic or plastics that mainly blocks the digestive tracts, okay, and also alter the feeding behavior of marine organisms. So in this way it will also reduces growth, and it is also having some negative impact on reproduction output of those marine animals. So this is about in detail regarding this topic. And now let us move on to the next topic. The title says Inland Vessels Bill will ensure safety. So this article mainly talking about Inland Vessels Bill 2021. So you can expect question regarding what are the provisions of this bill in your prelims especially. So this topic will be important from polity point of view. And now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context why this Inland Vessels Bill 2021 is in news. because government introduced Inland Vessels Bill 2021 in Lok Sabha. So because of this, now this bill is in news. So if you talk about some more details, here this bill mainly ensures safety of navigation and also protection of life and even prevention of pollution. So these are three important dimensions which are talking by this bill. An important key feature of this bill, it is unified law for country. In different states they cannot go for individual law. Okay, so this is unified law for the country. And now let us try to focus on what are the important features of this bill. So first one is it is unified law which will be applicable entire throughout our country instead of separate rules which are framed by states. So first one is it is unified law. So this is one important thing. So you can expect a question like, so this inland vessels bill which is seen in recently in news, so consider following statements. So first statement might be, so it is a separate rule which mainly framed by states. It is not a unified law. Means it is absolutely incorrect statement because it is unified law for entire country. So because of this, here states they cannot come up with this separate rules which are framed by them. Okay, and this bill also have a provision regarding certificate of registration which mainly granted under this proposed law. So it will be valid in all states and also even union territories. So it will be no need to seek separate permissions from the states. And next one is this bill also provides central database. So this database will be useful for recording the details of vessels and also even vessel registrations. So vessel registrations and as well as the details of vessels that will be recorded in this central database. And next one is all non-mechanically propelled vehicles. They will also enroll at district level, taluk level, panchayat level and village level. So here the non-mechanically propelled vehicles vessels list also will be there. And next one is it also enlarges definition of inland waters. For example, tidal water limit and national waterways, they are mainly declared by central government. And it also declares with the population control measures of inland vessels. And even it directs central government to designate a list of chemicals, okay, chemical substances and as well as pollutants. So these are some important things. And now let us try to focus on what is this inland, okay, what is this inland waterways. So if you are talking about inland waterways, India it is having about 14,500 kilometers of navigable waterways in India. So inland means whenever river is present or whenever lakes are present and these lakes are connected to rivers. So it is helpful for navigation, that is movement of goods and services or people from one place to another area, that is called as inland water or inland waterways. So in India we are having about 14,500 kilometers of navigable waterways. And they comprise, for example, rivers, canals, backwaters, creeks, etc. And as per National Waterways Act of 2016, so we are having about 111 waterways. They have been declared as national waters. And National Waterway 1, which is Ganga Bhagirathi Hooghly River System. So it is about length of 1620 kilometers and it is longest in India. So these are some important things that you need to know. Now let us move on to next topic. Title says government portal for children who are orphaned by this COVID-19. So to understand this, again we need to go back and we need to know background. So as you all know, because of COVID-19, so many parents, they lost their life and they left their children abandoned or orphaned. So because of this, then what happened? So our NGOs and there are a number of organizations, they invited people to adopt these abandoned or orphan people, orphan children especially. So here Supreme Court come into picture and said that it is illegal. So here it gave some directions to center mainly to stop this type of illegal adoptions. Okay, it is against CARA. And next here is now central government came up with some step. And it came up with this portal for children who are orphaned by COVID-19, they can be registered. So before that, here government also said that it is going to have some corpus fund under this Prime Minister CARES, that is PM CARES program, and it will provide some assistance to children who lost their parents. And now to keep that promise, government came up with this portal for children. So in this portal, children who lost their single parent or both of the parents. So any person can register those children under this portal such that they can avail benefits from this PM CARES scheme. So this is some background. And now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 society. So if you see context, it mainly says that children who was orphaned by COVID-19, they can now share his or her details with Union government on a web portal, and this will be very much helpful for children to claim benefits under this PM CARES. So if you see further more details, it mainly says that government introduced the portal to all the states and union territories. So this is the thing which mainly announced by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Ministry of Women and Child Development introduced this portal to all states and union territories, and here in this portal any citizen can inform the administration regarding child who is eligible for support from government under this PM CARES. Now let us try to see some facts here. So Prime Minister approved a scheme under this PM CARES fund for children who have lost both parents or lone surviving parent or legal guardian or an adoptive parent due to this COVID-19. And this scheme mainly provides a corpus of rupees 10 lakh to each child when he or she attains or when he or she turns 18 years. And corpus used to give a monthly stipend from age of 18 for the next 5 years to help with these children in their higher education. And next one is health insurance mainly cover rupees 5 lakh under this Ayushman Bharat scheme. So these are some important provisions of that PM CARES which is given for children. So now let us try to move on to next topic. Title says RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, plans digital currency pilot soon. So this article mainly talking about digital currency, and it is one of important development in India. So why we need to go for planning of this pilot projects regarding this digital currency? Because across the world many countries are adopting this digital currency. So here India needs to also go with other countries, because whenever other countries are going towards development and as well as we can say economic growth and development, why we should stay here only? We need to also adopt those techniques mainly to improve in to grow in economic growth and as well as development here. So because of this, till 2018 RBI mainly banned this digital currency. So now RBI mainly plans digital currency pilots. Okay, so now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 3 under economy. So if you see context, it mainly says that RBI, Reserve Bank of India, is likely to soon kick start of pilot projects. So in this pilot projects, they will assess the viability of using this digital currency to make wholesale and as well as retail payments, and what will be the benefits and as well as what will be that is pros and cons of this digital currency. So now let us try to see some background. So with creation of this Bitcoin in 2008, so the cryptocurrencies, they have gained much significance all over the world. So India also need to move in that direction. So if you see significance, so it will be very much helpful for corruption check, because we can't trace that. Okay, we can't go for middle thing. Okay, so if I am doing transaction from here to this so and so person, that person will be receive that. So in middle, no one can take that money. Okay, and next one is time. It is also time effective and is also very much cost effective. And if you see, recently government announced to introduce a bill, that is Cryptocurrency and Regulation of Official Digital Currency Bill 2021. So this bill mainly talks to create sovereign digital currency and simultaneously to ban any private cryptocurrencies. So here we need to come up with sovereign digital currency, but we are also going to ban some other private cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is gist of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says limits of cooperation. So this article mainly focusing on recent judgment of Supreme Court regarding this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act. So here what we need to focus? We need to focus on what is this cooperative societies, what is the meaning of this, and what is this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act, and why it is in use, and we need to see what is the justification of center and what is the interventions of Supreme Court. So whatever important from our UPSC point of view, we are going to discuss here. So this topic will be important regarding GS paper 2 under polity, and this topic will be exclusively important from mains. From prelims, you can expect some facts regarding what is this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act. Like that, you can expect a simple questions from here. So if you see context, it mainly says that recently Supreme Court upheld a 2013 judgment of Gujarat High Court and also struck down some or certain provisions of this Constitutional Amendment Act of 97. Okay, so here what happened recently is Gujarat High Court mainly said that we need to struck down this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act is unconstitutional. Only some provisions, but not everything. Okay, so case went to Supreme Court. Supreme Court also said that yes, the judgment which is given by this Gujarat High Court is true. That is, Supreme Court upheld this judgment of this Gujarat High Court. So because of this, now it gave a major boost for federalism, as 97th Constitutional Amendment Act shrank exclusive authority of states over its cooperative society. So because of this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act, which mainly have exclusive power of center but not state here. So even though this cooperative societies which comes under state list, so this exclusive power of center we can see here. So if you're talking about what is this cooperatives, according to International Labour Organization, cooperative, it is an autonomous association of persons. They are united voluntarily, made to meet common economic, social, cultural and as well as aspirations through a jointly owned, democratically controlled enterprise. Okay, so these are, if you see these cooperatives according to International Labour Organization, so these cooperatives, it is an autonomous association of persons, and in this we can see voluntarily they will come together and they will form a common economic group or social group or cultural group, and they will have similar aspirations. And if you're talking about types of cooperatives, we will be having a different types. For example, we have consumer cooperative societies, we are having producer cooperative societies, and we are having housing cooperative societies, credit cooperative societies, and as well as marketing cooperative societies. So these are some important examples of this cooperative societies I am saying. And if you see issue, what is the issue here? So as we know, these cooperative societies are included in our constitution to this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act. To this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act, it introduced Part 9B, okay, Part 9B, which is introduced in our Indian Constitution. So this Part 9B mainly dictates the terms for running of these cooperative societies. So provisions in this amendment mainly passed by Parliament without getting ratified in state legislation. So as you know, first important issue here is, so whenever we want to make any change, any amendment to our constitution, we need special majority. So in this special majority, that is 2/3 of people who are present and voting. And next one is we need to pass this same resolution in state legislature with a simple majority. That means at least 50% of states, they need to pass this resolution with simple majority, that is more than 50% of present and voting, right? So what happened whenever we introduce this 97th Constitutional Amendment Act, which is not ratified by states, so again it is violation of our constitution. So this is first important thing. And next one is determining the number of directors a society should have or length of tenure and even necessary expertise required to become member of a society. So these are some important conditions which are mainly placed by center. So if you're talking about central government argument here, it justified that the government was injecting professionalism and as well as autonomy to functioning of this society. Okay, so this is the first important argument which is made by center. And next one is whenever there is lack of accountability, that will leads to poor services and low productivity. So we want to have a good control over this cooperative society. And next one is even elections are not held in time, means cooperation need to run in a well established democratic principles. So mainly we want to ensure accountability and as well as a proper service delivery and to increase productivity. So we need this type of amendment. So this is a thing which is mainly said by center. And if you're talking about Supreme Court ruling, first one is, it said that, so this part 9b, which mainly talks about article 243zh to 243zt, so they will comes under exclusively under state list. Okay, that will be listed under this entry 32. So because of this, it is unconstitutional. And next one is, it is not ratified by states. So as per article 368 subclass 2, it mainly says that Parliament can amend constitution by passing bill with special majority. That should be passed in Parliament, and also more than half of states, they need to ratify this thing, but it is not ratified by state. So this is second important issue. And next one is, here Supreme Court upheld the validity of provisions which are related to multi-state cooperative societies. So this multi-state cooperative society, which mainly comes under union list, and it is mainly upheld this validity. Okay, so this is about in detail you need to know regarding this topic. And now let us see next topic. Title says, will the new e-commerce rules really favor consumers? So in this lecture, we are going to discuss in detail about this e-commerce rules. So this will be very important from your economy point of view. Okay, and this topic will be exclusively important from your mains. So now let us try to see next topic. Okay, so if you see context, it mainly says that government has proposed changes to e-commerce rules, which mainly comes under Consumer Protection Act. So now government came up with this draft e-commerce rules. So important aim of this draft e-commerce rules is greater compliance and also protecting the interest of consumers. So these are two important aims of this draft e-commerce rules. And this draft e-commerce rules issued by Consumer Affairs Ministry. And this mainly issued by Consumer Affairs Ministry mainly to deal with unfair trade practices that hurt consumers. So if you're talking about provisions, it mainly says that, so first one, it talks about mandatory registration for e-commerce entities under this DPIIT. Okay, and next one is to appoint a chief compliance officer, and here this e-commerce companies, they need to appoint a nodal contact person. He can be contacted 24/7. Okay, and next one is, whenever they are coming up with any imported goods or imported services, they need to display country of origin for sure. And next one is, specific flash sales or back-to-back sales are banned. And next one is, all e-commerce entities must provide information within 72 days on any request from government authorities. And if you're talking about advantages, first one is, it will be helpful for equal protection to all. For example, if any e-commerce company going up with this back-to-back sale or flash sales, then what happen, many consumers or many customers, they will visit this site and they will book their orders. So because of this, is mainly it is mainly do not having a level playing field. Okay, so because of this, it is also even restrict manipulating search results and as well as search indices, etc. And next one is, it mainly talking about even mandate the logistic service providers to not provide differential treatment between sellers of same category. Okay, so it is also mandating this logistic service provider not to provide differential treatment. So every consumer or every customers, they need to be treated equally. And next one is, rules also protect against unfair trade practices. And here it also talks about push for made in India products, such that it will also increase accountability from shareholders of e-commerce firms. And next, if you're talking about challenges, first one is, so there is increase in oversight of government on these online platforms, right? And second one is, here e-commerce platforms, they cannot sell retail products on their own. Okay, and next one is, legal challenges overburden judiciary. So whenever there is any challenges which are happening or any issues, so they will file cases in judiciary or judge on high courts or district courts, etc. So because of this, already we are facing a problem like there is increase in burden on judiciary, that will overburden our judiciary still more. And next one is, there will be impact on growth and also job creation. Okay, so whenever there is increased over regulation here, that will also retard growth and as well as job creation, and it also discourages MSMEs. So when MSMEs, whenever they want to come to online, so whenever we are coming up with this type of e-commerce rules, that will be also discouraging those MSMEs. and it will also deprive strategic autonomy of those e-commerce platforms. And other issues here is it is not clear about country of origin, and also draft does not distinguish foreign and as well as domestic e-commerce. So these are some important advantages, issues, challenges and provisions of this draft e-commerce rules. So these are some important things that you need to remember regarding this topic. And now let us see next topic. Before seeing next topic, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. If you want to clear UPSC 2022, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial and as well as highly economical course, that is current affairs package along with the mains answer writing practice. So how this course will be useful? So one thing you need to remember here is before entering into examination hall, you need to know at least 1.5 years current affairs. And this is right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 years current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And why you need to focus on current affairs? In prelims, mains and even interview, you can get questions from current affairs. To answer those questions, you need to master current affairs. And next one is mains answer writing practice. Many students ignore this mains answer writing practice. So because of this, even though if you clear prelims, you cannot clear mains without this answer writing skills. So in this course, we are mainly focusing on how to improve your answer writing skills. And next important thing is, if you join this course, we also conduct prelims test on every Sunday and we provide you video explanation part. So in this way, this course which is designed as per demand of UPSC. So finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. So details of this course which is given in description box. So please visit that once. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. And one thing I want to say, so we stop at this PIB analysis on daily basis, but on every Sunday we are going to come up with this PIB analysis with a detailed explanation. Okay, so on every Sunday we are going to have this PIB analysis. And next one is we also started one new initiative, that is Target Prelims 2021. So in that initiative, we are coming up with daily 2 to 3 topics which are at most important from our UPSC prelims point of view, and we are coming up with a question approach. Okay, so we are going to explain the content, what it is, everything which is important from our prelims, and we are framing 2 to 3 questions on that topic, and we will be explaining how questions will be framed such that you can understand topic in a comprehensively, and you will be also enjoying learning process here. Okay, so this is about that initiative. So please watch that initiative daily. So yesterday one lecture it is posted by Servan sir. You can watch that lecture. So now let's come back and let us see next topic. Title says making decision under stress. So this article mainly focusing on decisions in this COVID-19 pandemic. So here whenever you are writing answer regarding what is impact of this COVID-19, so here mentally also we have impact of this COVID-19. So you can write this article as a case study whenever you are writing answer regarding what is impact of this COVID-19. Okay, so this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 on health. So now let us try to understand this topic. So this article mainly focusing on decisions and pandemic. So because of this COVID-19 which caused a biggest disruption to our lives since our partition in 1947. So from 1947 onwards, it is one of our biggest impact that is seen on life. So life became very much difficult, and that led to increase in stress, and finally it is having impact on our decision making. So because of these dramatic shifts in our personal and as well as work lives, so if you're talking about personal life, so because of illness, we are facing some health distress and as well as some economic crisis we can see, and as well as it is also taking away our loved ones. For example, many children, they lost their parents and they became orphaned and abandoned, and even many people even young people, they also lost their life who are having some comorbidities here. Okay, so because of this, what happened, because of this COVID-19, even there is a lockdown, shutdown of borders, and even there are many disruptions in each and every sector. So because of this, income also decreased for people, and we are also experiencing there is increase in job loss. So because of all these things, now we can see some behavioral changes in COVID-19. Earlier, parents used to offer 100 rupees for children for their nutrition, but now they are offering just 40 to 30 rupees. So because of this children life, it is also having some negative impact. So because of all these things, now there is increase in stress. So now stress which is mainly increased whenever it is seen in long term. So finally that will also leads to chronic anxiety. So whenever we are experiencing stress, but from March 2020 onwards you are experiencing some or other kind of stress, right? So because of this, there is a long term impact on our body that will leads to chronic anxiety. So whenever we are feeling stress, one hormone will be released in our body that is called as cortisol. So whenever this cortisol which is exposed longer, that is from prolonged exposure of this cortisol, that will increase risk of heart diseases, and also that will leads to sleep disruptions and mood disorders, for example anxiety and depression. Even that cortisol have an ability to kill brain cells, and as well as even that will leads to reducing size of our brain. So whenever this shrinking effect of this brain which is seen, so we can see shrinking effect especially in this prefrontal cortex. So this prefrontal cortex which will be very much responsible for our memory and as well as learning. So recent studies mainly says that stress do not tend to make good decisions. So even studies around the world says that we already know that more than 90% of people are protected against hospitalization because it's COVID-19, but people are not coming outside because of this vaccine hesitancy, right? So even though we know that we are not taking good decisions here, so even people who are having money in their hands, they are going for mindless investing. And sometimes we can see on other side, most of the people, they are facing crisis and there is drop in income. So this is about gist of this topic. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Thank you so much. And don't forget to watch this Target Prelims 2021. That will be highly beneficial for you people. And don't forget to enroll to this current affairs package. Thank you.